What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 6 of the Downtown Browntown podcast. I am your host, Downtown Browntown. Before we get started, just want to give a special shout out to my boy Simi, who made me a super cool logo. You can see it up on my YouTube channel. Please give him a follow on Instagram at Simeon Tomich Designs. The dude does absolutely awesome work, and can't thank him enough for helping me out. So let's get into it right away. The Bucks just faced the Miami Heat back-to-back nights, coming off a big win on Tuesday night, 144-97, followed by a disappointing loss last night, 119-108. Let's go over everything good from the first game. So we got the good. We've got the three-point shooting was absolutely insane on Tuesday night. The Bucks shoot 29 for 51 from three, breaking an NBA record for most three-pointers in an NBA game, and we couldn't even see it because the TNT broadcast decided, the Bucks are just absolutely destroying the Miami Heat. We're going to do NFL Red Zone version of the NBA and just flip around all these other games. Cool, thanks a lot. That's the downsides of not being on Fox Sports Wisconsin, is they would never do something like that. But whatever. I mean, the Bucks got a huge win. They needed a confidence booster badly after getting embarrassed by the New York Knicks by 20 points on Sunday night. So, great win for the Bucks. I mean, there's really not too much to dive into that game. One of the most surprising things that I saw, though, was Thanasis Antetokounmpo getting significant minutes in the game. He did play 20 minutes and got some early first quarter minutes, which I was absolutely shocked about. But I thought he played really well. We're not going to expect him to hit three-pointers like he did in the first game, but his energy on defense is really big for this team, and he's just got a nose for the ball. He's there for every rebound. I mean, if you watch the guy play, it's almost comical at times just because he's everywhere. I mean, he is literally playing his ass off every single second he's out there, and it makes an impact on this team in more of a positive way than a negative way, for sure. I mean, I'm not a big DJ Wilson guy, so I think that Thanasis has done a lot more with his minutes than DJ Wilson has. I mean, DJ has a more consistent three-point shot, which goes a long way in the league today, but at the same time, he doesn't get it done defensively. I know he's been known to be a pretty good defender, but I'm not seeing it this year. I mean, besides the stretch that he had in the 2018-2019 season when Giannis won his first MVP, when DJ Wilson was getting significant minutes that year, I specifically remember him guarding Blake Griffin pretty well a couple times, and some other good players, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that DJ Wilson is this respectable of a defender. But he didn't show me much this year at all. He's really lost his confidence, and he's got the Thon Maker syndrome of a young deer trying to grow into its body. The dude just can't stay on his feet. It's just hard to watch him play, to be honest. And I really like what Thanasis is doing, and I hope he gets minutes consistently going forward. He's even shown a decent ability to drive to the hole and finish at the basket. He's athletic as hell and can make some dunks look pretty easy. But overall, I really like what I've seen from him, and that was one of the things I was very, very surprised about in the first game against the Miami Heat, was to see him come off the bench. I had to look up. I was like, what, was DJ Wilson hurt right now? What's going on? Thanasis is in the game. It was just very surprising to me, but I'm very happy about it, and I think that it was a good rotation mix by Bud, one that I did not call for, by the way, and one that I did not even think of, but good use of the rotation, changing the rotation by Bud there, and I hope to see it continue going forward. Other than that, not many real surprises here. I mean, all the guys kind of get on track shooting the three-pointer. I mean, Brook Lopez, 3 for 4. Chris Middleton, 4 for 5 from 3. Dante DiVincenzo, 5 for 6. Jrue Holiday, 6 for 10. I mean, that's fantastic. it's obviously not sustainable, and we saw that unfold last night. But when you hit shots like that, Jimmy Butler or no Jimmy Butler, we're going to win that game pretty convincingly. And it was nice to see some shots fall. But again, not something that the Bucks can really rely on. Another big takeaway that I'll take from Game 1 of the back-to-back against Miami is that Dante DiVincenzo is really coming into his own. He's really embracing that starting role, and I don't know if it's the fact that he got traded in the offseason that is motivating him, but he's really worked on his game, and he's really performing well both on the offensive and defensive end of the court, and that's huge for the Bucks. I mean, one of the things that all the Bucks fans wanted to see coming in this year, and that would maybe propel us into that next tier of a basketball team, is Dante being able to consistently hit a 3-point shot. And so far, he's done that. I mean, he's confident. That's the thing you can tell with him, too. He's always had good form. I mean, him going back to college in Villanova, I mean, the dude lit it up in both national championships that they won, especially the second one where he was the Final Four Player of the Year. I mean, the dude was just making ridiculously tough shots, and his form has always been there, but I think he just lacked confidence coming into the league. I mean, it's hard. Obviously, the three-point line steps back a little bit from college, and NBA is a whole different animal. The skill level is so much higher, and the pace of play is a lot faster. So it takes sometimes a little bit of time for guys coming into the league to figure out how to consistently knock down shots. And I think that this year for Dante, his third season, he has really come into his own. And that is huge for this Bucks team to elevate to that next level. So overall, those are the most important things that I saw from the first game. I mean, Brook Lopez kind of returned to form as well, shooting the ball, but he also played pretty well on the defensive end. Like I said before, he's looked a little slow to start the season. I mean, he's always played slow. Like sometimes when he's posting up on offense, he just moves. It's like he's in slow motion, but he's kind of looked a little slow and not as hasn't had that ability to block shots like he has in the past. I still think he has it, but I just think his instincts are a little off right now. But he definitely returned to form a little bit, and that's huge for this team going forward. So the first game, I mean, what else more can you ask from a Bucks team? I mean, it's crazy to think that every single Bucks player that played in that game hit a three-pointer besides one guy. Who could that be? That would be the jersey behind me, Giannis, which is crazy. So you're not going to expect those games, obviously. I mean, it was one of the games I was watching. I was like, wow, I can actually sit back and relax. I don't have to be all stressed out and all hunkered down to be and just cringing at certain things that the team does. But I mean, what a great performance by the Bucks, and couldn't have came at a more opportune time for them after just an embarrassing loss to the Knicks. So overall, I'm super satisfied with the first game, and like I said, it's not sustainable as the Bucks lose last night against the Miami Heat, 119-108, blowing a fourth quarter lead as well. They were up big going into the fourth quarter. They were up. It was only 3 points, but still, I mean, blowing a fourth quarter lead like that, not going to get it done. They were outscored 14 points in the fourth quarter. Middleton had a pretty bad game. I mean, 3 for 15 from the field. That's pretty rough. I mean, Chris Middleton was absolutely dynamic in the first game. I mean, he just made everything look easy. He was making those turnaround fadeaways, just everything he wanted. He got and he made it. He was in control. That was the thing to me. You could tell after about the second quarter of the game that they were putting Avery Bradley and Tyler Hero on him on defense and really locking down and getting in his grill. But still, he had the confidence early on in the game where he didn't care how tight the defense was playing on him. He was going to make those shots. And that's a big thing for Middleton that I've noticed in the past few years is that when he starts good, he finishes good. but when he doesn't start good, he continues those struggles on into the game. I mean, he just didn't have it last night. And obviously, the defense was pressing him again like they were in the second half of the first game, but it was getting to him this time. He didn't make those first couple shots where to get his confidence up, and it continued. I mean, he was just forcing shots up at this point, like, and they weren't even shots where like, okay, you could say he was forcing some shots in the first game, but he just had the defender. He was controlling the defender basically. Like he knew what he wanted to do. He was gonna do it, and he was gonna do it with confidence and put that shot up. And they were going in almost every time. But in this last game here, I mean, it just felt like he was pressing and he was trying to force things, and the shots that he was putting up just weren't good. And and it showed in the stat line. Obviously, very disappointing game for Middleton, and he's really such a big important piece for us to get wins. And if he plays like that, we're not going to win a lot of the times. Even though we had a 3-point lead going into the fourth quarter, I mean, he just wasn't getting it done. And it was very disappointing. Obviously, Giannis bounces back with a very good game. 10 for 18 from the field, 26 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. First triple-double of the season. I mean, he played well. Obviously, there were a couple times where he put up some bad shots where Bam Adebayo defends Giannis very well. He's probably top 3 in the league at being able to contain Giannis. Obviously, Giannis still gets his, but Bam puts himself in good positions. He's a great shot blocker, and he really knows how to play defense. I mean, we all saw that block in the bubble last year in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston where he blocks Jason Tatum. I mean, his wrist was just cocked back like all the way like this when he blocked it. I mean, it was probably one of the craziest blocks I've ever seen besides the LeBron James block on Andre Iguodala in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Where personally I've never seen a guy want something more in his entire life than LeBron wanted to win that Finals. I mean, he put his absolute life on the line, which honestly made me respect LeBron because I didn't love him on Miami, but I mean, making that block and just I remember he got hurt right at the end of that game of the Game 7 of the Finals, and it looked like he was done. Like it looked like he was severely injured, and he got up and shot his free throws. I mean, that just ultimately made me respect LeBron James. But anyway, yeah, Bam Adebayo, unbelievable shot blocker. But yeah, Giannis bounces back with a good game. Brook Lopez, again, kind of reverted back to the form that we've seen early on in the season. 3 for 11 from the field with 7 points and only 8 rebounds. I mean, he looks lost a little bit at times. It's not great, but again, when he shoots threes, that's really when he shines. He was 3 for 7 or 1 for 3 from 3, which just, I mean, luckily 33% isn't going to kill you, but he's just not getting it done so far this season, and I am concerned about it. I think maybe he's just, the lack of an off season has gotten to him a little bit. He's obviously an older player, been around for quite some time, but his inability to get things done on the offensive end and his somewhat dip in defensive efficiency has definitely been noticed this season, and really hoping that he picks it up for us because with the lack of front court depth that we have, especially really big centers, we don't have a Robin Lopez or a Marvin Williams or an Ersan Ilyasova like we had last year. It's really just Bobby Portis, who compares to him size-wise, who's 6'10". Obviously Thanasis Antetokounmpo as well, but you don't have that big bruising center. Like that's Lopez. That's all we have. And he's very important to us. And obviously he's not gotten it done so far. And it's been disappointing and it's impacted this team. So really hope to see him pick it up. Other than that, I mean, again, Thanasis Antetokounmpo gets 11 minutes, and I thought he played well. I mean, he had a really nice dunk off of a little dish in the paint by Drew Holiday. I mean, he just made that look easy, and he made some huge defensive plays. I mean, right at the end of the game, he draws a charge, and just by getting getting his nose on the ball and just getting in the nose of defenders. And he was right up on the guy, and he just pushed him a little bit, and they call an offensive foul on Dragic. And it was funny, to be honest. Like, just because earlier on in the fourth quarter, we were playing full court man defense, and he gets up right in the grill of Goran Dragic, in like all the way in the back court, and it was just funny. It's like, this guy is just everywhere. I mean, he was running around, slipping on the court, just trying to be around the ball at all times. I mean, that energy is just unmatched, and it makes a positive impact. And he hasn't been a liability on offense at all, I don't think. I mean, he moves around, he sets good screens, he's able to finish at the rim. He's obviously not a great shooter, but not every guy's going to be able to shoot. I mean, he's making a really good impact on this team, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. I'm pretty sure Bud is loving it too, and he's going to give him those DJ Wilson minutes that he deserves, to be honest. I mean, he's made way more of an impact than DJ Wilson ever did with the minutes that he's gotten early on in the season. So, again, very great impact from him, and I hope to see him play like this going forward. I mean, obviously the three-point shooting was lacking last night. Still pretty good. 16 for 41, right around the 40% mark there, which you'll take on any given night. But just when we needed to make shots, they weren't falling. I mean, we were 10 for 23 at one point in the first half, which was great. But obviously we only made 5 or 6 threes in the second half, and those are when they need to fall down for us. So the Bucks shooting down the stretch was not getting it done. I mean, the fourth quarter was just a joke. To me, my biggest takeaway from that game is, why were we playing hero ball in the fourth quarter? And just in case you don't know, hero ball is a term used by people in the NBA. It's basically just isolation offense, where it felt like all we were doing was Middleton would take the ball up, try and go ISO one-on-one against the guy and just jack up a bad shot. Brick. Giannis was doing the same thing, just trying to get to the hole. Turnover, missed shots, bad plays. I mean, Dante had a play as well where he ran up the court right away and tried to do something and just lost it. It's like the Bucks were just like pressing, like, oh, we need to score right now. We need to get this lead back. It's like, just work the offense. In the first game, they were moving the ball around so well. It reminded me of San Antonio Spurs teams in the past, of Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Bruce Bowen, when they had those dynamite teams where they won 5 championships since 2000. I mean, they were moving the ball so well. The thing that I loved the most was they were turning up good shots for great shots. I mean, that's when you know your offense is clicking, and the Bucks just weren't moving the ball around well in the second half at all, especially in the fourth quarter. I thought that they came out and made a good statement in the first half of the game, and we're moving the ball around well, trying to get good shots for everyone. I mean, Pat Connaughton, that was probably his best game of the year, 4 3-pointers made. Even though I really haven't loved the way he's played this season, he's starting to knock down shots a little bit. And if that happens, he's going to remain on the court and get right around that 20 minutes per game mark. But he's got to knock down shots to do it. Even though if he does start missing shots, I still think Coach Budenholzer would play him. But again, we just weren't moving the ball around well. Our offense was so stagnant, and it just wasn't working. And obviously when Middleton's not getting it done, we need other guys to step up, and they really didn't. I mean, Drew Holiday had a decent game. Not really, obviously defensively he was great, but 4 for 15 from the field. I mean, he made some really nice drives, and he's really crafty and just knows how to get himself a good shot and create himself a good shot. But he had a couple, fadeaway shots, turnaround shots that looked good. They just didn't fall, and it was disappointing to see. But I'll take those shots from him any day. I know they're gonna fall more often than not, but it just wasn't getting it done. Dante, 5 for 14 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. Not bad, by the way, 3-point percentage there. But again, I don't know if it was just a hangover from that amazing performance they had on Tuesday night, but the Bucks didn't have it in the fourth quarter, and I really thought that stagnant offense really was the reason they lost the game. I mean, they were up 3 points going in the fourth quarter. I mean, you'll take that any day against the Miami Heat team, even without Jimmy Butler. But at the end of the day, they weren't moving the ball around well, and it really cost them. That's a game you'd really like the Bucks to win, but they just couldn't get it done. And let's not discount the fact that Miami was really hot in the fourth quarter. I mean, Goran Dragic, as we all know, he's a certified Bucks killer. You know, there's those guys who always play well against the Bucks, and they're known as, even in the Fox Sports media, like Jim Paschke and Marcus Johnson will mention that Goran Dragic is a Bucks killer. It's like Terrence Ross on the Orlando Magic. Dragic is one. Bojan Bogdanovic on the Utah Jazz is another one, where these guys just show up against the Bucks. They shoot well. I mean, Goran Dragic was making some tough contested three-pointers that are just like, what are you going to do? And same with Tyler Hero. It's like, man, I mean, that really hurt us, and our offense just wasn't getting it done, and that ultimately led to the Bucks falling to the Heat there, which was disappointing. But luckily, the Bucks' next 7 games of their schedule really open up. They play the Pistons 3 times, the Bulls, the Magic, the Cavs, and I'm forgetting the other team. But those are 7 winnable games for the Bucks, and you'd really love to see them go 6-1, 5-2 at the absolute least, just to get their record up a little bit. I mean, we got to remember that the season is only 50 or 72 games this year, 10 games less than normal. So, you know, losing these type of games is going to hurt you in the standings a little more than it did in years past. So, you really hope that the Bucks can get on track here. They do play just to give you the next game here, they play the Chicago Bulls New Year's Day, Friday night at 7 p.m. at home at Fiserv Forum. Will be nice for them to get back home and hopefully play well. The Bulls are struggling, so you really hope to get a nice win for them. But again, there's been some really weird losses this season. I mean, you saw the Clippers lose by 50 points to the Dallas Mavericks. Philly lost to the Cavs by 20. I mean, there's some Orlando Magic are 4-0. The Hawks are 3-1. There's some teams that, you know, exited early from the bubble or didn't even make the bubble last season that are playing really well to open this season. And it's been a weird year so far. I mean, the Heat are 2-2, the Celtics are 2-2, Bucks are 2-3. I'm not super concerned. You know, I think that this team is more built for the playoffs. I really like the minutes distributions as well for the starters last night. Giannis 38 minutes, Middleton 37, Lopez 26, Holiday 34, and Dante 30. I think that's great. I think Drew should be right around more the 36 to 38 mark. But seeing all the starters besides Lopez get the 30 plus minutes per game is going to be huge for us. We don't have the depth that we've had in years past. I like what I'm seeing from DJ Augustine, but he's been inconsistent on the offensive end, and defensively he's somewhat of a liability since he's only a 5'11 guard who can get bullied by bigger point guards. But that's why you see Drew Holiday on the court a lot of the times with DJ Augustine or Dante DiVincenzo, so they can take the more skilled guard and lock him down on defense. But I mean, the bench has been spotty. You know, Bobby Portis has a really nice 17 points against the Knicks, but I think he tries to force things a little too much. I mean, he's taking fadeaway shots in the paint sometimes. It's like, dude, we can get better shots than that. But I really like his play overall. I think he is probably one of our most important bench players because we can run small ball lineups with him at the 5, or even him at the 4 with Giannis or Thanasis at the 5. So I like what I'm seeing from him, but overall the bench has got to be more consistent. I hope Bud continues to tweak with those rotations to get guys maybe like a Sam Merrill in there who in his career so far in the NBA, 5 games, 4 for 4 from 3. Perfect, which is pretty crazy. Obviously it's only 4 shots, but he's made some really tough step backs, and I like what he can do, and he moves his feet around pretty well in defense. Kind of similar to a Kyle Korver, but a little more athletic. Obviously a lot younger, so he's got a little more pep in his step, but I'd like to see what the Bucks do with the bench going forward, and I can't wait to watch them Friday night. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date on all my future content. And please give me a follow as well on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at downtown_Brown on Twitter and at downtownbrown on Instagram. Again, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great New Year's. Go Bucks.